Okay, let's get into it. Today we are doing a deep dive into, well, one of the most incredible systems in the human body, the entire gastrointestinal tract.
That's right. If you've ever eaten a meal, you've used it, but today we're really going inside the machine.
And for this, we're working from a really solid stack of biology notes. They cover everything from, the basic anatomy all the way to the complex hormonal signals that run the whole show.
Our mission really is to trace a meal from start to finish, but not just as a list of parts.
No, we want to get at the surprising speed and the almost unbelievable complexity behind it all. We're especially focusing on the big accessory organs, the liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and the hormones that act as the master controllers.
To frame this, you have to think of it as an assembly line with 6 key steps. First is ingestion, just getting the food in.
Right, then propulsion, moving it along.
Then mechanical digestion, the physical grinding and churning. After that comes chemical digestion, which is the enzyme part.
And then the whole point of the exercise, absorption, getting the nutrients. And finally,
Elimination, getting rid of what's left over. A 6-stage process.
that's our roadmap. And it all starts, of course, in the upper tract. The second food enters your mouth, mechanical digestion is already underway.
Yep, with your teeth. Your incisors at the front are for cutting, and the molars in the back have these broad surfaces perfect for grinding everything down. Mastication.
But the chemical side starts right away, too, doesn't it? It's not just waiting for the stomach.
Not at all. Salivary amylase in your saliva immediately starts breaking down starches into simpler sugars like maltose. It's the very first step of hydrolysis.
So once that food is ground up and mixed with saliva into what's called a bolus, it triggers a reflex.
And this is where the first critical safety mechanism kicks in. Swallowing has to be automatic and foolproof.
Because you can't have food going down your windpipe.
Exactly. The epiglottis, which is this little flap of tissue, snaps down over your trachea. It's a perfect seal. Food goes one way, air goes the other. Simple as that.
And then it moves down the esophagus through muscular ways peristalsis.
Right. All the way down to the cardiac sphincter, which is like the front door to the main event.
Yeah.
The stuff.
The acid crucible. I mean, this place is an engineering marvel designed for some truly extreme chemistry. Its main job is protein digestion, and for that it uses an enzyme called pepsin.
But here's the catch. For pepsin to even work, it needs an environment that is so acidic it would burn through almost anything else.
We're talking about hydrochloric acid, HCl. It drives the stomach's pH down to about 3.
Which is incredibly corrosive. So the big question has always been, how does the stomach not just digest itself?
That is the ultimate safety feature, isn't it? If you have acid and protein-eating enzymes, why aren't you just a puddle?
The answer is a thick, constantly replenished layer of alkaline mucus. It's secreted by specialized cells in the stomach lining, and it forms this incredible physical and chemical barrier.
So as long as that mucus layer is intact, the stomach is safe. But if it fails...
That's when you get gastric ulcers. The acid and pepsin start to eat away at the stomach wall itself.
Okay, so after a few hours of all that churning and chemical attack, the solid food becomes this semi-liquid slurry called acid chyme.
And that chyme is now ready to move on. It passes through the pyloric sphincter into the very first part of the small intestine, the duodenum.
And this seems like a really high-stakes moment. You're dumping something with a pH of 3 into a much more delicate tube.
It is the critical junction. This is where the accessory organs have to step in, and they have to do it instantly. If that acid isn't neutralized, you're going to have major damage.
So first responder is the pancreas, our buffer and enzyme factory.
Absolutely. It pumps out over a liter of pancreatic juice a day, and the key ingredient is sodium bicarbonate. It's highly alkaline.
So the second that acid chyme hits the duodenum, the pancreas just floods the zone with bicarbonate.
Instantly. And that does 2 things. First, it neutralizes the acid, protecting the intestinal wall. And second, it creates the perfect pH around 7.1 to 8.2 for the next set of enzymes to take over.
It's like changing the workshop for a new set of tools.
A perfect analogy. You've got amylases for starch, lipases for fat, and a whole suite of very powerful proteases like trypsin to finish breaking down proteins.
Hold on. If these pancreatic proteases are so powerful, why don't they digest the pancreas on their way out? Same problem as the stomach.
And this is maybe the most elegant biological fail-safe in the whole system. This is the real aha moment.
Okay, I'm listening.
The pancreas manufactures these enzymes, like trypsinogen, in an inactive form. They're completely harmless inside the pancreas.
So they're like a bomb with the safety pin still in.
Exactly. And the pin only gets pulled when that inactive trypsinogen reaches the wall of the duodenum. There's a special enzyme on the wall itself called enteropeptidase that activates it, turning it into powerful trypsin.
That is brilliant. So activation only happens on-site, outside the factory.
It has to. If that mechanism fails and they activate inside the pancreas, that's acute pancreatitis. The organ literally starts digesting itself.
A self-inflicted chemical wound. Wow. Okay, so that brings us to the liver, the largest gland in the body. And it's so much more than just a digestive organ.
Oh, absolutely. The liver is the central processing unit. All the blood coming from your gut, full of nutrients, goes directly to the liver first through the hepatic portal vein.
It's like the customs office.
It is. It filters blood, detoxifies things, makes essential proteins for your blood plasma, stores sugar as glycogen. The list goes on.
But for digestion, its key contribution is a substance called bile.
Right. And it's critical to remember bile is not an enzyme. It doesn't break chemical bonds. Its job is purely mechanical, and it's all about fat.
Why does fat need special mechanical help?
Because fat is hydrophobic. It clumps together in water, forming these huge globules. The fat-digesting enzymes, the lipases, can only nibble at the surface of these giant blobs. It's really inefficient.
So you need to break up the blobs to increase the surface area.
Precisely. That's what bile salts do. They act like a detergent. They emulsify the fat, breaking those large globules into millions of tiny microscopic droplets. This massively increases the surface area for the lipases to attack.
And the gallbladder is just a storage tank for the bile.
Yep. It stores and concentrates it sometimes up to 10 times so it's ready to go when you eat a fatty meal. It contracts and squats that concentrated bile right into the duodenum.
Okay, so now our meal is basically a soup of simple sugars, amino acids, and fatty acids. It's ready for the main event, absorption, and the rest of the 20-foot-long small intestine.
And the small intestine is a masterpiece of structure as function. Its only job is absorption, so it does everything it can to maximize its surface area.
We're talking about folds on top of folds tonight.
Exactly. First, you have large folds on the intestinal wall called plicae circulaires. Then, covering those are millions of tiny finger-like villi. And then, the cells on those villi have their own microscopic folds called microvilli.
The brush border.
Yeah.
So if you could somehow flatten all of that out, how much area are we talking about?
You'd be looking at a surface area roughly the size of a tennis court, all packed into your abdomen.
That's incredible. And it needs all that space because once the nutrients cross that border, they go to different places.
A critical split. The water-soluble stuffed sugars and amino acids gets absorbed directly into blood capillaries inside the villi. From there, it's a straight shot to the liver for processing.
But fats take a detour.
They do. Fatty acids are absorbed, but then they're reassembled into fat molecules inside the intestinal cells. They're too big for the blood capillaries. Instead, they enter a special lymphatic vessel in the center of the villus called a lacteal.
So they travel through the lymphatic system first, which eventually empties into the bloodstream, bypassing that initial trip to the liver.
It's a completely separate transport system just for fats. So after all that, whatever's left moves into the large intestine.
And its job is mostly just cleanup, right? No more major digestion.
Pretty much. The colon's main job is to reabsorb the vast majority of the water and electrolytes. And it's also home to trillions of symbiotic bacteria that synthesize some essential vitamins, like vitamin K, which we then absorb.
Well, what's leftovers is just compacted into feces for elimination.
That's the end of the line.
Now, none of this, the acid, the buffers, the enzymes, would work without a command and control system. Let's talk about the hormones that run this whole show.
People forget that the GI tract is actually the body's largest endocrine organ. The coordination is all run by hormones.
Let's start with the one that gets the stomach going, gastrin. What's its trigger?
Gastrin is released by G cells in the stomach when they detect two things: protein in your meal and just the physical stretching of the stomach wall.
And its command is simple. Make more acid.
Yep. It tells the stomach to ramp up hydrochloric acid production. It's the go signal.
Okay, then that acid chyme enters the duodenum, and we need the emergency brake for the acid. That must be secretin.
Secretin is the acid alarm. It's released the second the pH in the duodenum drops below 4.5. Its one and only major job is to tell the pancreas, release the bicarbonate. Now,
It's purely a defensive hormone.
almost entirely. Now, if secretin handles the pH, CCK, or cholecystokinin, handles the actual food content.
Ah, okay, so it responds to the fats and proteins.
Exactly. CCK is a signal for a rich meal. It does two things. It tells the gallbladder to contract and release that stored bile, and it tells the pancreas to release its full cocktail of digestive enzymes.
That is just beautiful coordination. Secretin preps the environment. CCK brings in the specialized tools.
It's customized on the fly. And the last of the big four is GIP. This one seems to connect everything to our metabolism.
Glucose-dependent insulinotropic peptide.
Right. It responds to all three macronutrients, carbs, fats, and proteins. But its key job is the incretin effect. It signals the pancreas to start releasing insulin, often before the sugar has even hit your bloodstream.
So it's an early warning system. It tells the body, get ready, sugar is coming, which makes our blood sugar control way more efficient.
It's the direct link between your gut and your metabolic health.
And you can see how important this is when it goes wrong, like with Zollinger-Ellison syndrome.
A perfect, though terrible example. You have a tumor, a gastrinoma, that just pumps out gastrin nonstop.
So the stomach is just constantly making acid at full blast.
Uncontrollably. It completely overwhelms the bicarbonate buffer, leading to severe treatment-resistant ulcers. It's a stark reminder of what happens when one hormonal signal goes rogue.
That's a powerful point. Before we wrap up, it's worth looking at how our diet, over evolutionary time, has shaped this entire system.
You can tell so much about an animal's diet just from its teeth. Our own teeth are a classic omnivore setup. Incisors for cutting, canines for tearing, and flat molars for grinding plants. We're built for variety.
And the length of the gut tells a story, too.
For sure. Herbivores, who have to break down tough plant cellulose, generally have much, much longer digestive tracts compared to carnivores. It just takes more time and real estate.
And then you have the ultimate specialists, the ruminants, like cows, 4 stomachs.
An incredible adaptation. The first two chambers, the rumen and reticulum, are basically giant fermentation vats full of microbes that break down cellulose. The food is regurgitated, chewed again as cud, and only then does it pass to the omasum for water absorption, and finally the abomasum, which is the true acid stomach.
This has been a fantastic deep dive. It really shows that digestion is anything but passive. It's a high-stakes, hyper-efficient chemical ballet.
The engineering of it is just stunning. From the tennis court of surface area in the small intestine to the fail-safe choreography of the hormones, it's all about maximum efficiency with absolutely zero room for error.
So what's the final thought we can leave you with the next time you sit down for a meal?
Just consider the complexity of that one moment, the exact second that acidic chyme hits your duodenum. In that instant, secretin is already screaming for bicarbonate to neutralize the pH, while CCK is simultaneously calling for the specific enzymes and bile needed for whatever you just ate. It's an instantaneous, perfectly tailored hormonal response that keeps the whole system from destroying itself. It really makes you wonder, what subtle everyday stressors might be enough to throw that astonishingly fine-tuned system just slightly off key?